The taxi screeched to a stop at the curb, its light glowing bright in the evening drizzle. Malik stepped forward, hand raised, bag over his shoulder. Before he could even open the back door, the driver leaned across the seat and glared through the window. "No, not you. Find another cab." The words hit harder than the cold. What this driver didn't know was that the man he just refused wasn't just another passenger. He was the one sent aside if this driver kept his job.
Before we continue, if you believe that people deserve to be heard before they're judged, and you want more powerful, eye-opening stories like this, go ahead and subscribe to Black Justice and stay with us to the end of this narration. It helps the channel grow and keeps these stories alive. Like, comment, and share this video so you never miss the next one. Your support helps us keep telling stories that matter. Now back to the story.
Malik froze for a second, raindrops sliding down his face. He wasn't dressed like money. Plain jacket, worn shoes, a backpack that had seen better days. But his voice when he spoke was calm and clear. "Sir, your light is on. I requested this cab. My app says this is my ride." The driver, a middle-aged man named Carl, rolled his eyes and unlocked the passenger window halfway. "You're going across town for a short fare, I can tell," Carl said sharply. "I don't waste my time on people who look like they can't pay or are going to cause trouble." Malik blinked slowly. "I enter my destination and payment in the app," he replied. "It's already approved." Carl smirked. "Then cancel and call someone else. I get to choose who sits in my car." Each word made the street feel smaller. A couple waiting nearby watched in uncomfortable silence. One woman whispered, "That's not right," but didn't move. Malik looked down at his phone. On the screen, the ride status glowed. "Driver arrived. Please meet at pickup point." Underneath, a quiet note. "Today you are on a quality check trip." He took a breath. "I have somewhere important to be." Malik tried again. "And I followed all the steps. I just need a ride." Carl's tone hardened. "And I said no. Go walk or call someone else. I don't have to explain myself to you." Malik's jaw tightened, but he kept his voice level. "You actually do," he said softly. "You work for a service that requires equal treatment for all riders. You can't refuse someone based on how they look." Carl scoffed. "You gonna report me?" "Please. They never listen to people like you. They listen to me. I'm the one driving the hours." Malik looked at him for a long moment, not angry, just deeply disappointed. He didn't raise his voice. He raised the truth. "Okay," he said quietly. "Then I guess we'll let the company decide who they listen to." He stepped back from the cab. Carl shrugged, tapped his phone, and hit cancel. Rider no-show. He pulled away from the curb, satisfied with himself. But a tiny red notification popped up on his screen as he drove. Quality control flag added, "Pending review." He ignored it. 15 minutes later, Carl pulled into the company's designated rest area by the central office. He planned to file a complaint about difficult passengers and ask for a bonus shift. Inside the lobby, other drivers milled around, sipping coffee and checking their phones. At the front desk, a receptionist smiled politely. "Carl Lewis?" she asked. "The regional supervisor would like to see you." He raised an eyebrow. "Already? That's fast service," he chuckled, straightening his jacket. "Sure. Must be about my excellent ratings." He followed her down a quiet hallway, his footsteps echoing a little too loudly. They entered a glass-walled conference room. Sitting at the table, reviewing a tablet, was a familiar figure in a different setting. Malik, same plain jacket, same calm eyes. But now, his posture carried a different weight. Carl's breath caught. "You," he started, pointing. "You're the guy from the curb." The receptionist spoke gently. "Carl, this is Malik Evans, our internal quality and compliance officer. He conducts live secret tests with drivers in the field." The room seemed to shrink. Malik looked up slowly, meeting Carl's gaze. He wasn't gloating. He wasn't grinning. He looked tired. "Please have a seat," Malik said. Carl sat, suddenly unsure where to put his hands. "Let's go over what happened at the pickup point," Malik continued, voice steady. "I requested a ride through the official app. The trip was pre-approved and paid. You arrived, saw me, and refused service. Carl shifted. You looked like you were going to waste my time, he muttered. You didn't look like... Like what? Malik asked softly. Carl exhaled. Like a good fare. Malik nodded slowly. I see. Our records show you marked it as ride or no-show while I was standing at your door. That's considered dishonesty and fraud. And refusing service based on appearance, assumptions, or prejudice. That violates company policy and basic human decency. Carl's shoulders slumped. Look, you don't understand what it's like out there, he snapped offensively. I get people who don't pay, people who cause trouble. I have to protect myself. Malik leaned forward slightly. I know exactly what it's like, he replied. I drove a cab for 6 years before this job. I've been refused rides myself. I've been judged as trouble because of how I look. That's why I take this work seriously. The silence that followed was heavier than any shout. You didn't even ask where I was going, Malik added. You didn't check the app. You didn't listen. You just looked at me and decided I wasn't worth your time. Carl stared at the table. So what now? He asked quietly. You gonna fire me? Malik didn't answer right away. He tapped his tablet, reviewing notes. Our goal is revenge, he said. It's accountability and change. But this isn't your first flagged incident, Carl. We have previous complaints about you refusing passengers in certain neighborhoods and about you canceling short trips while charging late fees. Carl's face paled. I've got bills to pay, he whispered. A family. Malik nodded. And so do the people you refuse to drive, he said gently. So do the passengers you judge before they say one word. The regional manager stepped into the room then, having listened just outside the door. Mr. Lewis, she said firmly, effective immediately, your driving account is suspended pending full review. You'll have the chance to attend mandatory training and appeal. But until then, you won't be taking any more rides. Carl's eyes watered, but he said nothing. Malik stood. Carl, he added, tone softer, this could be a turning point for you if you let it. The question is, will you keep driving with your assumptions or with your eyes open? Carl swallowed hard. I didn't realize it mattered this much, he murmured. Malik gave a small, sad smile. It always mattered, he said. You just finally saw the consequences. Later that week, the company released a training video to all drivers. They used an anonymized version of the incident. No names, no faces, just a reenactment of a driver, refusing a passenger who looked unprofitable, only to discover it was a secret quality tester. Over the video, Malik's voice narrated, We don't always know who's getting into our car, but that's the point. We shouldn't need to. Everyone deserves basic respect, not because of who they might be behind the scenes, but because they're human. That night, Malik walked along the same street where the story began. Taxis came and went, headlights cutting to the dark, engines humming. A driver pulled up beside him and rolled down the window. Need a ride? The man asked politely. Anywhere you're going, sir. Malik smiled faintly. Yeah, he said, getting in. Let's go. As the car pulled away from the curb, Malik glanced back once, not to hold on to the injustice, but to remember the lesson, because the real test was never about catching one driver. It was about reminding everyone watching that the way we treat people when we think no one important is looking reveals exactly who we are. Respect should never depend on an app, a uniform, or a hidden title. Respect costs nothing, but it can change everything.
If this story touched your heart or made you think about how we treat each other, take a moment to subscribe. Your support helps us share more Black justice stories that inspire change, spark awareness, and remind the world what dignity truly looks like. Share and leave a comment. Your voice helps bring these stories to life and keeps the message alive. Your voice matters here,